you are likely to spend the rest of your life struggling financially until the day you die. The system is rigged to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. You must make a decision today to become rich. It doesn't just happen. Let this be a warning to you. This may sound like I'm being dramatic, but the statistics show otherwise. I predicted back in 2016 that being comfortable would quickly become extinct. The world is changing fast, and unless you do something drastic, you and your bloodline will live in poverty. I used to work in food banks, giving food to the destitute. Do you know who used to come? Homeless people, drug addicts. They'd come and receive free food given by donors. Today, if you volunteer at a food bank, you'll see nurses, waitresses, care workers, call center operators, delivery drivers queuing for food from food banks. At the time of speaking, the average 30-year-old has a total savings of £3,500. That's less than 6 weeks' living costs. The average rent in London is £2,100 per month. How is that affordable for the average person? This is why even people with good jobs are forced to live in house shares, tiny studios, or at home with their parents. The average take-home salary in London is only £2,800 per month, barely more than the average rent. It's also becoming harder and harder to rent, with agents asking for larger deposits and upfront rent. Utility bill prices are also going up in price. Food, transport, house prices are projected to keep on rising higher and higher. Meanwhile, salaries are barely rising. This is comparable to feudal times where peasants would be given a humble place to sleep, eat and drink in exchange for a lifetime of labor and sweat. The only difference now is that people are given a humble salary but have to find their own place to sleep, eat and drink in exchange for a lifetime of labor and sweat. People are retiring later and later in life because the system has been redesigned for us to work until we die. Old age pensioners are retiring only to realize that pensions they invested in their entire working lives are only worth £137 per week. The government is not coming to save you from this reality, and it is only going to get worse and worse. Artificial intelligence is going to take away most people's jobs, leaving millions of people redundant and unable to cover their bills, being forced to sell their houses, downsize, and degrade their quality of life. Your parents' advice of getting a good job for life doesn't cut it anymore. In today's generation, the average person changes jobs on average every 2 to 3 years. And this will get more extreme with AI taking your jobs. Even if you're in a really good job and saving £1,000 every single month, it would take 25 years to have enough money to buy an average £300,000 house. By the time you've saved up the money, the house price would probably be £1 million, meaning that you'll be forever saving but getting nowhere. I recently watched a fly trying to escape out of my office window. It was repeatedly banging into the window, hoping to break through. If only the fly had known that the window was open, it just needed to change strategy. It could have been free within a second. In the same way, you are working so hard in your job, hoping to break into financial freedom, but you won't. So you need to change strategy. Only a few will actually change strategy and become free. When you go to Asda, you no longer interact with a human being because a machine is smart enough to take your payment. Only when you get stuck or a complex issue comes up does a senior employee come to help. Mindless employees are no longer required. The way to survive over the coming months and years is to get extremely efficient. Do not be scared of AI taking your job. Let AI become your servant so you can do a far superior job. The one job that AI will struggle to replace the most is sales. Human beings are intrinsically far more likely to be persuaded to buy from another human being than they are from a robot or a machine. And it's proven that it's much easier to sell expensive services to rich people than cheap services to poor people. Money is like water. There's something known as the water cycle that proves that water is always moving. It flows through rivers, evaporates into the clouds, then rains back down. The cycle repeats. If you stand in the rain, you're guaranteed to get wet. Money's the same. And we have something known as the money cycle. If you position yourself where the money is flowing, you're guaranteed to get rich. The reason people are poor is because they work for money. Instead of letting money flow to them and through them, money is always moving. Your job is to stand in the way. I became a cash millionaire by age 25 from sourcing property investment deals and passing them on to investors for a 2% finder's fee. I always got paid up front, always delivered and sold hundreds of deals. The best deals were cherry-picked for me. Now I own an extremely large portfolio of properties that has not only changed my life, but will change the lives of my family history. I've also trained thousands of my students to do the exact same thing, often buying deals from them myself. This is the best strategy to generate fast income with the lowest overheads to getting started. It's not passive, but it's massive. The average property is around £300,000. If you charge a small 2% fee and sold just one deal per week, that'd be an income of £24,000 per month. In order to begin doing this, you just need 4 things: the ability to find good deals, a network of investors, legal contracts, and the skill set to close the deal. I received a message recently from a 16-year-old kid called Kane from Chester. He had no money, was diagnosed with cancer, but was keen to learn the art of deal selling and making money. I invited him to come along to my £1 crash course with his parents. Kane came along with his grandma, and she took a personal loan out for him to join my advanced training. Within 4 weeks, he'd made £11,500 from selling 3 property investment deals to investors that he met on the training. Kane's now escaped the matrix, and he's now cancer-free. If a 16-year-old can do this, you can too. But if you were my best friend or my closest family member, I'd urge you to learn the skills of deal sourcing and making quick cash. Regardless of what happens to the future of money, there'll always be rich investors looking for bargain, lucrative investment properties. The fastest way to become financially free is by using the Premier Inn model. Financial freedom is when your recurring passive income exceeds your monthly living expenses. If it costs you $5,000 a month to live comfortably, then you must have a passive income of $5,000 a month that's set up on autopilot and rolls in while you sleep. Once you've achieved this, the next goal is ultimate financial freedom. This is where your passive income covers your desired lifestyle, which could be 10 to 20 grand a month. Once you've achieved this, you are completely free. The goal is not just to earn more money, but to generate a completely different type of money. If you don't believe in passive income, then you're paying for somebody else's passive income. The most expensive overhead for the average person is their rent. And that's why you must own properties yourself to rent them out. Not necessarily own property, but have property. The largest companies in the world today understand the power of control. The largest hotel business in the world is Airbnb, but they don't own any hotels. Get the idea? I wouldn't advise taking on a large hotel for your first deal, trying to make £1 million revenue a year. I'd start with a small, single studio apartment. Once you've proven the concept, made $1,000 a month from one apartment, got a couple, then build up to bigger deals. Even young people with bad credit and no references have managed to find tired landlords who give them a shot when they learn the art of how to sell and, of course, how to deliver. Brainwashed slaves and sheep usually find excuses to stay poor. They can't afford the upfront rent. They don't have the skills to get the landlords on side. Their family won't support them. The list goes on and on and on. The sad reality is that everybody can become financially free, but not everybody will. I recently launched a new training day in London and received a message from a young man on Instagram saying, "I can't get to London as I don't have transport, but when are you next coming to Croydon?" I responded, "People travel from all over the world to attend my training. If you're so stoppable that you can't get to London from Croydon, then you will never be successful in business. There'll be many obstacles and hurdles. This is the first one." He never responded and didn't come to the seminar. I'm glad he didn't come, because if he had come, he'd have lowered my ratio of success students. Instead of waiting for your property to increase in value over time, you can force it up in value using many strategies. The most common way to increase the value is to buy broken properties and then repair them. This is called buy, refurbish, refinance, rent. Right now, you might be thinking, where are these magical property deals? It's normal to think this way because you've never seen one before. When I bought my new gold Range Rover, I'd never seen one before. Now, annoyingly, I see them all the time. Not because there's more on the road, but because my mind is programmed to spot them. This is the same for property deals. Best deals come from agents. The best way to build relationships with agents is to buy from them. Once you're a player in the game, your success will snowball as you get better at identifying projects and have too many deals to handle. The good news is that you can sell some of your opportunities to other investors for a fee. If the deal is too good to sell, you could partner with other investors and share the profits. Conclusion: the fastest way to become financially free is to study deal sourcing, rent to rent, and BRRR. Once you have these valuable skill sets in your toolbox, you'll become extremely valuable in the marketplace and you'll never be able to work a 9-to-5 job again. I've helped thousands of people escape the rat race, and I've personally used these strategies to make millions of pounds myself. The reason I teach people today is because I make money from collaborating with my students, and I gain a lot of satisfaction from helping others. When you get to the top of the mountain, it's fun pulling others up to join you.